Hello, I am Bert Janssen. Welcome back to the series of short videos in which I explain the book, The Organizing Principle, There Are No Coincidences. I feel that this is the right moment to summarize some of what we have seen and learned so far, and move from that point forward deeper into the rabbit hole. The most far-reaching I have talked about up until now is Jung's observation that psyche and matter act as if they are one, and they likely are, which would explain why the two different aspects of a synchronistic event, the non-physical aspect and the physical aspect, have a meaningful connection, while they have not a causal connection. The two aspects, which are not held by space or time, have a common origin. In essence, they are one and the same thing. The workings of this one and the same thing is orchestrated and directed by the organizing principle, which can also directly speak to us by means of shapes and geometries, as we have seen with Jung's mandalas. At the heart of these mandalas we can find squaring the circle, the shape of spirit, the archetypal tool of the organizing principle. How archetypal squaring the circle is demonstrated by the fact that it is at the core of alchemy. It is connected to time and how we perceive and keep track of time. It is connected to the cycles of life and even to life itself. Shapes and geometries, and especially the archetypal squaring the circle, can trigger the organizing principle into action. This can even happen on a subliminal level. The trigger can happen without us being consciously aware of it. It can happen while visiting Stonehenge or Avebury, the Hagia Sophia or Aachen Cathedral, St. Peter's Square or Tom Quad in Oxford. The resultant of this trigger can be a synchronistic event, something most people will classify as curious coincidence, which it is not, as we have seen. There are no curious coincidences, but there are synchronicities. Cases of premonition, precognition, remote viewing, visions are all synchronicities. They all have a non-physical aspect. The premonition, precognition, or vision itself, and a physical aspect, the event the premonition or precognition or vision was about. Both aspects are not held by time. Although the non-physical aspect often precedes the physical aspect, you first have a premonition, a precognition, or a vision, and only then the event happens, it can also work the other way around. First, the cards are drawn and then they are guessed. This can generate unexpected and really bizarre situations. Just think back of the earlier videos in which I showed how squaring the circle is hiding in ancient sites, in more modern cathedrals. It is even hiding at CERN. I often asked the question if the builders of these ancient sites and cathedrals were consciously aware of what they were creating, or were they just following their inner voice, listening to their intuition? Since time does not play a role, it is perceivable that a physical end product triggers the organizing principle to generate a non-physical event in the past, which will look like a vision, or an inner knowing, or an inner voice, motivating people to create the physical end product. This may sound bizarre, but it is not as strange as you would think. Let's have another look at Stonehenge. It can easily be that the squaring the circle present at Stonehenge triggered the organizing principle to generate a vision, an inner knowing, an inner voice at the time Stonehenge was built, motivating the builders to build Stonehenge in such a way that squaring the circle would be included and defined by the monument, which then would trigger the organizing principle to generate a non-physical event, etc., etc., etc. This looks and feels like an endless loop, but that is only the case if time would be a relevant factor. Since, as we have seen, time does not play any role at all, there can, by definition, not be a loop. It is only our perception of time that makes it look and feel like a loop. In a future video, I will show another example of such a phantom loop, where a physical event in our now triggered the organizing principle to generate a non-physical event in our past, which formed the motivation to create the physical event in our now. Confused? Just watch the next video. I see you there.